All right, looks like we are live and audio looks good. I think it looks like the video is working well. And thanks for stopping by. Going to take a look at an old familiar bottle and a brand new unfamiliar bottle. The first one we're going to look at, I've been sipping on tonight, and it should be one that is on everyone's bar. If you do not have this on your bar, you are doing your friends a disservice. It is the Talisker 10. It's $65 approximately, and you can find this anywhere pretty much. I rarely go to a place that does not have the 10. And Isla Sky, it's might as well be Isla. It's got a lot of properties that are reminiscent of Isla, but I'm not sure if I would give this to a person that's never had Scotch because there is a lot of peat smoke. There's some pepper. We'll get into that in a second, but as far as if you do have a friend that has had like a Lagavulin 16, if they've had a Lafroig, if they've had like even a Highland Park, and they want something a little different, this is right up. I mean, this is, you can't go wrong. This is perfect. And you can tell by how little is left in here how much I like it. So we're going to pour. So I've been using one of these dragon glasses. Watched Scotch Test Dummies a while back and won some dragon glasses doing some trivia. And it's a fun glass to play with. It's a little offset, but it's got some interesting dimensions to it. It sits sideways. I know you can't really see that great here, but it kind of sits to the side. It's good for decanting. If you want your Scotch to have a little more air in it, breathe a little better, it's not a bad option, and you can still get a good nose. And it's the only glass, one of the very few glasses, you can actually nose as you sip, which is a kind of a nice thing. I think those tailored milestone glasses that the Scotch for Dummies were using is similar as far as the kind of the shape, as far as the size of it, but I'm not sure if you can nose as you drink with that. Probably something similar though. But oh my, Talisker is a great distillery. I love their 10. I've had the 18, which is really good too. Distiller's Edition is a favorite. Some people don't rate it as high as the 10 or the 18, but I like it. I haven't had a Talisker. I really haven't liked the Port Ree, which is a Travel Restyle exclusive. That's a great one. The finish isn't so good, but the taste and the nose were good. So there's lots more to try. They have like a 57 degrees north. They have a I'm trying to think. They have a Neist, Neist. I forgot the rest of it. I think it's like Neist Point, something like that. So they have about probably 8 or 9 offerings out there. The Dark Storm, I know that's a Travel Retail exclusive as well. That's supposed to be really good. I haven't seen it yet, but hopefully if I get a chance, I'll snag a bottle of that. The nose on this is beautiful. You get pears pretty much. That's the main fruit, white fruit. Very, very, very nice. And in the back, you also get the peat, little peat, not much peat, but a lot of smoke. The smoke is really prevalent. It's a really good mix of the dark and the light, the sweet, the spicy. Very well done. 10-year. I mean, it's probably the best 10-year. I hate to say that because I'm a huge Ardbeg fan and a Lafroig fan. But I have to say, I think Talisker 10 is probably the best 10-year Scotch I've ever had next to a Springbank. And that's saying something. Springbank 10 usually goes for 75 to 79, pricier by 10 to 20 bucks. So for the money, I think Talisker 10 is just a solid bottle. It's beautiful. You can nose it all day. I mean, it's good, just and neat. You don't want to put anything on it. It's 45, I think. Let me look at my notes over here. I think it's 45.8, if I remember. Yeah, 45.8. Very strange number. I'm not sure where they came up with the 45.8 on the ABV, but they're not shortchanging it with the 40 or 43. They're pretty much a 46, I'd call it. And you can definitely tell the quality is there. Mm. The thing about Talisker, its trademark is its pepper. Not only do you get white pepper, but you get black pepper. So you got to be in the mood for a spice. But you also get a lot of brine, a lot of salt. That coastal Isle of Skye presence makes itself known there. And you still get the fruits, the nice vanillas as well. And you still get a good amount of slight peat, heavier smoke, I'd say. Oh, it's beautiful. Finish is pretty decent too. Medium finish, I'd say. And it's not dry at all. That's another reason I like it a lot. A lot of these cask finishes, you get a lot of dryness, but this is ex-bourbon. It's done in I believe it's a hogshead, a larger hogshead sized bourbon cask, and I'm not sure if that's the biggest reason why you don't get the dryness, because they're not using sherry, they're not using anything that's going to give you that acidity. And oxidation doesn't hurt it. I've had a bottle, a distiller's edition, set for a while, and even though I loved it, I just definitely made it last as long as I could, and it never, even in the heel, it didn't get bad at all. You cannot go wrong. Let me look at the comments here. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Hey, thanks, Scotch for Dummies, for stopping by. Tom R. Bobby Purnell, good to see you again. Tom R, of course. Samlicast and Richie Z, good to see you. The 18 is Bobby's favorite pour of the Talisker. And Tom says that his first Talisker was a 6-year cask strength from an independent bottle fat dram. First he was hooked. Huh. I haven't heard of that one. I'll have to try to keep my eye and see if I can find that. 18 is your favorite pour, Bobby. I can't dispute that. The 18 to me has some more floral properties in there, and that does give it more complexity. It gives it more character, I'd say. The funny thing is, every time I've had an 18, it's been at a bar, so I'm not sure if it's the best way to experience, but even so, it's good. I think the Distiller's Edition and the 10 are my favorites, even more so than the 18. But I heard there's a 20 out. Haven't seen it. I'm not sure how prevalent or if it's only overseas in the UK, but I've heard the 20 is really good, and it's probably similar to the 18, I imagine. 25 is one year that I hear that's kind of knocked around a bit, doesn't do very well in the reviews. The 30 picks up where it left off, though, and gets better reviews, so something to think about. I have also seen that there's different types of the 25 distillery bottles even. I think there's like 3 different ABVs that come with 58 all the way down to like 40-something, which is strange, but I'll have to do more research on that and see what that's about. But I was just doing a little bit of reading before I went on and started sipping the old Talisker. Such a great bottle. Bobby agrees on the 25, yeah. And I think even the Scotch for Dummies had a similar deal with that. Richie hasn't tried it, I think. Oh, it's very, very it's very worth your while. I've never had a bad Talisker. I've heard the 25 is the only one you got to be kind of wary of, Richie Z. So keep that in mind when you're looking around. The 10 for the bang for the buck is perfect. I would start with the 10. It's actually rated higher than the 18 in the Distiller's Edition in most accounts that I've seen on reviews. So it's not much of an investment, not much of a risk. So I'm all about risk mitigation. Yeah, it's easy to find too, I think, pretty much. Love that finish, man. It's a well-rounded. You do have to have like some pepper. The brine is salty. If you don't mind a good salty, smoky dram, you're going to be into it. If pepper and salt and smoke's not your thing, then stay clear. But it's a great drink also that works well in the summer and the winter. I could see myself drinking this in any kind of food too. I mean, I can imagine myself eating seafood with it, eating a light salad with it. It just goes with everything. I don't know. I guess I just like it that much. Mm. Great stream later, yeah. Guys on the and thanks so much for the shout outs when you guys do the graphics. It's really cool. You're so lucky to have Drew, man. If I could get Drew, like, clone him and get him over here to do some of this crazy stuff he does for you guys for the media, man, it would be ideal. While we're talking, let's go ahead and pour this guy. Cask Strength, Works in Progress, number 7, Kilkerran, Glengall Distillery. I think it's so funny that, you know, they have the Glengall Distillery here, but the name is Kilkerran. I'm not sure why that is, but they're a sister distillery, I know, to Springbank. The other only one would be Glen Scotia, the 3 Campbelltown distilleries. All of them are excellent. Haven't had anything bad from any of the 3. So let's get this sucker opened while we're having a little chat and let it breathe a little bit. I think, from what I remember talking with Hoagie Bear when I was looking at the, one second, the Sherrywood Works in Progress. I've done that bottle previously. I think it's an 11 year from what I remember him saying. From the notes, let's look at that real fast. Let's pour it and let it air while we're talking, though. 1 second. I'm getting distracted. Guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. Love that sound. Great color, and it's natural. One thing they do, I think, I'm pretty sure, is it's all natural. 54.1% on ABV on that. Anyway, let's go back to this. While they wait 12 years for the whiskey to mature, it spends, let's see, the bourbon matured expression in the second half of their Work in Progress number 7 release. The first half being a sherry matured single malt. So it's done half and half, it looks like. It's released in 2015 at Cask Strength, and they opened in 2004. So I'm thinking this is probably close to a 10 to 11 year, is my guess, in the series before they did the Kilkerran 12, which is their flagship, pretty much core offering. You can find this. You can find the Sherrywood, which I've done. They have a Cask Strength 8 year. I think the Malted Man Cave just did the review on that particular guy, and they do have that at my favorite store nearby too. I might have to pick that up next, do a little review on that. And they also have the 12. Those 4 are the ones I see pretty regularly anywhere I've gone on a specialty shop that's got a lot of Scotch. So looking down here at the comments, Bobby Parnell says some of the older bottles of Talisker at all ranges, or I'm sorry, all age ranges are just magical, though I think distilleries dropped the ball a bit off in recent years, though it's still my favorite whiskey. Yeah. Haven't had any problems recently. I think that Distiller's Edition, though, was an older bottle from 2012, but it was definitely good. Tamar says saying "Don't meet your heroes" is not true when it applies to Drew. He's a great person. Yeah, you're lucky to get a chance to hang with them for a while there in Chicago. Great city. I've been there a couple times, and always had a good time. Huge, though. You got to be in the mood for a lot of people. Tamara is asking, let's see, I'm having a Springbank Green tonight. It was really nice. Trying it now with some water, and it is bringing out more of the cask influence, huh? So you're probably getting a little more of the vegetal, the green mint, I'm assuming. Or if you're talking about cask influence, you might be talking about the actual oak, the whatever barrel was used in that. Let me know which one, if it's going more towards the oak, the woody elements, or if it's going more towards the organic barley and the green banana, the mint, and some of the vegetal properties that I was getting from it. And I know it's a 12. Mine was a 13. I'm not sure if it's much different at all. If it's 1 year, you wouldn't think it'd be that much of a difference. I'm assuming that since that one was bottled in I want to say it was 2016. The one you've got is probably 2015, but I'm just giving a guess. I did not see a date on that bottle to really give it a good reference. So letting that air out a bit. Have a couple more sips of the old Talisker while we're hanging. I've got some samples I was looking at maybe doing a surprise. It's funny because I do have the Peat Monster Cask Strength as well. I had a buddy named Lee, Mr. Lee, sent a sample of that, and I'm eager to try that out. Not going to do that maybe till next time. Maybe if you guys do it, Scotch for Dummies, I might join you on that one. I've got a couple samples actually of that, and still get a chance to review that. It's a huge bottle. I think it's like a 1.75 liter from what Lee was telling me. And seeing it on your all's show tonight, I was like, wow, that does stand out. It's massive. The Tom says with water, he's getting the vanilla off the cask. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a good different Springbank. If you're not really in the mood for the cask strength 12 or the 10, the typical thing, or some sort of crazy cask of the Burgundy cask 12 or the port cask, something like that. If you want something different, I do recommend the green. I'm sure the 12 or the 13, either one is worth it. I gave it like a 4.25 out of 5, I think, when I was rating it. On Talisker, if I had to rate it, man, it's definitely up there. 4.5, I'd say, out of 5. It's high. There's not much else I would add to it. It's got, well-roundedness and great price. It's hard to really knock it for anything. Maybe a longer finish would be nice. It's not short by any means, though. It's got some chocolate notes too in the palate. I probably missed that earlier, but very, very well rounded. And I've heard this one's going to be similar, but this one's going to have more of a cherry vanilla balance with cherry from the sherry, vanilla from the bourbon. That's what I hear. It's going to be interesting to see if that's the case on the Kilkerran work in progress still. So we'll see about that. Byron Purnell says he's fought the urge to equate cask strength with better flavor, but the more cask strength I try, the harder it's not to think that. That's true, man. I mean, I think it's honestly, I don't think you have to go as high as a cask strength, but I do think you have to get above 43% ABV to get really decent flavor. I cannot think of one 40% ABV bottle that I really was that enthused, with. 43 is even kind of, I think a Lagavulin 16. I have to go look, but I think that might be a 43. That's one of the rare ones that gets away with it. I'm trying to think of another one that's 43 that's really worth much as far as big flavor. 46 is pretty much, I think, the right where it starts being interesting, packed with flavor. 48 is my favorite because you don't have to do a lot of playing with the dram. You don't have to worry about being weak. You don't have to be worried about being blown away by the overpowered hotness. Usually, some drams do come in hot at 46 to 48, but if it's 48 and done well, perfecto. I'm down with that. But I've liked a lot of drams. Springbanks especially are really good at doing a 50, 55, 56%, as well as Ardbeg, 57, 56% dram without needing water to it. I mean, adding a couple of drops just to get the molecules flowing, but other than that, you don't really need to doctor it much, at all, which is always nice. So I'm with you on that. My favorites tend to lean towards the 48 to 55. So there you go. Let's have a little cleanse here. Hydrate, my friends, whenever you can. Let's see what Bobby said. He had a rock oyster at 46% side by side with a cask strength a few nights ago, and the difference was night and day. Yeah, I could believe it. Tamar says all the Kalila and Pita styles are really high ABV, but don't drink like it. All are smooth. Have the 12, 15, 18. All are great. I knew that there was a 12 regular peated. I knew about the 15 unpeated, and it's 18. I've heard of the 17 unpeated, but I didn't know if they had a 12 unpeated as well. That's interesting. That might be worth a try because it's young enough to have a lot of packed flavor, but without the peat, it might still work. I'd love to try a 12 unpeated just for giggles. They do have the 17 and the 15 unpeated at one of my favorite stores nearby. I might have to try one. I've been kind of hesitant though because I've heard mixed reviews on unpeated Kalila. It's kind of some people say that's not what they really should be doing. They're not known for it. It's not their bread and butter. They should stick to their peated stuff. And I've heard some people say, man, the unpeated Kalila is the thing to die for. It's great. So it's probably just one of those deals where you're just going to have to try it and hope for the best. That's one I'd love to get at an expo so I get a try. The thing about Kalila is you don't see them at expos very often. I've been to a couple. I'm going to one here in April. None of them have had a Kalila. And if Kalila shows up, that shows up in the presence of an independent bottler like Gordon MacPhail's Chapter 7 or Portishead. It's like they disguise themselves whenever they go out in public or something. It's really strange. I'm trying to think. Remember who owns Kalila? Is it Diageo? Let me know in the comments if that's the case. I couldn't remember if that was the deal. Bobby Purnell says the Kalila 12 peated disappointed him. He thought there should be more. Oh, well, he retracted the message. So anyway, probably it says something about maybe wanting a little more peat than just the smoke, because Kalila is a very smoky dram. Not really known for the peat aspect like a Lafroy, but Kalila's got some heavy smoke in there. I enjoy it. I have to be in the mood for that type of smoke. The Talisker is kind of like if you took Kalila and Ardbeg and kind of mixed it together, like the peat from Ardbeg, the smoke from Kalila, and I think kind of just a touch from both and put it together. I think that's what's nice about Talisker. But Tomar says yes, the big D. I think he means Diageo on that. Yeah. Isn't that strange? Because I know they use Kalila in a lot of blends, and that might be why they're not touting it as some big offering as far as marketing it a lot. It's a shame though, because I think the peated. I like the 12. I think it stood on its own 2 feet, but you know. It'll be interesting to try. Hey, Swami, thanks for stopping by, my friend. It's been a while since I've seen you. Let me know if Swami, if you've had the unpeated Kalila and if it's one of your faves or not. I'm curious because I hear mixed reviews. Seems like half the people I talk to like it. Half the people I talk to tell me that they should stick to peated only and not even go that direction. So Tomar says Lagavulin is his favorite balanced Talisker. I can't argue with you there. I mean, it's a very well done earthy peat. It's not over the top like a Lafroig. It's not ultra smoky like an Ardbeg. It's in the middle. It's a nice medium, I'd say. He enjoys that's right. I remember, Malted Swami, that you said that you like the distiller's edition of Kalila a lot, which I can never find here for some reason. Must be a Canadian thing. Canucks. Is that a peated or an unpeated version? I think it's peated. Okay, so it is peated. You never had the unpeated version. Okay. Yeah, we were talking about the 12, the 15, the 17 unpeated, and I just didn't know if it was worth, the try for over $100. It's kind of a tough thing just to go shell it out and pray for the best. It's almost like betting it all on black or something at the roulette table. So we'll see how that goes. I might get enough gumption or backbone to give it a whirl and see what happens. But let's take a look at this Kilkerran Cask Strength Bourbon Wood Works in Progress number 7. Let me know if you've had this one, Swami, what you thought of it. This is the bottle if you haven't seen it earlier. And did the sherry wood a while back. Thought I'd give this a try. It's set out for a long time. Very nice color. I think everything's natural in this guy. Let's get some white balance just to give you some reference. not too crazy dark. It's probably 11-year-old, I'm assuming. And I've always heard good things about Kilkerran. Gungal doesn't do many bad things that I've heard, and it does hold itself pretty well without the legs going crazy. Nice. Definitely get. The cherries are more profound than I thought they would be. That's good though, because there's nothing. I don't say worse, but there's nothing really great about a real fake maraschino, slightly there cherry, unless you've got a lot of other things going on with it to balance it out. This has got more of a real nice, standard, ripe, real cherry from a cherry tree kind of thing. Only had the 12. Love the Kilkerran 12. Yeah. Luckily here we got 4 to choose from. Swan. We got the cast strength bourbon wood, which is this one. They got the sherry wood, which I did before. The Kilkerran 12, which we all know and love. And here they have a cast strength 8 year that I love. That's the only one I haven't tried yet. After I do this one here now, and see how it goes. I'd love to get my hands on that one too, because it's kind of like the updated version of this, I believe, but a slightly younger 8 year. I think this is 11, from what Hoagie was telling me. If I'm hoping I'm right. I'm sure he'll let me know if I'm off again or something. But get some ginger in there. Really nice wood, subtle, which I don't mind some oak and some wood elements, but I don't want it right in my face. Definitely have the sweetness. Got some floral notes. Bobby pronounces, you have to see Kilkerran on the shelves here in Texas. Well, hopefully for your sake, my friend, you can get some, because you are missing out. I'm not sure if delivery to Texas is an easy thing, but it's definitely worth your while if you're in the market for a couple bottles. For shipping, it wouldn't be as bad if you're getting 2 or maybe even 3. Try to find you a few things that you like and throw a Kilkerran on there. You won't be disappointed. I recommend starting with the 12 because everybody loves the 12. It's probably the easiest to find out of the 4 that I know of too, by the way. Graham crackers in there too. Really, really nice. Kind of reminds me of the 12, with that floral mix going on with the bourbon. This is neat. So it's going to be pow. Yeah, wow. 54.1. It could use a couple of drops, but it's not bad. It hits you, but it's not over. I mean, you can feel the hotness is only in the back end, the very back end. It's not hot on the palate at all. It's a nice, pleasant taste, really. Wow. It's brighter than I imagined. It's like a firework. It's good. Let me put a couple drops though, just to tame it down just a little bitty bit. Hey Tom, thanks for stopping by, my friend. Sorry it's so late. I wish I had a way to start a little earlier, but it is what it is. Thankfully, we'll just do a couple drops to start with. Hopefully, I can get a regular thing going on maybe on Tuesday or something a little earlier. That's a possible option. So many guys doing this kind of thing nowadays, though. It's hard not to step on anybody's toes. Excuse me. Oh my! Swami says the Spring Bean collection is growing very nicely. Yeah, I'm working on it, my friend. I've got the 10, the 12 cast strength, a 12 Burgundy, a 13 green, a 14 bourbon, and a 19 port cask, which I wish I had some more left. I actually just finished that bottle yesterday, so that was sad. That was excellent, but it it's a remind. I'll always have that memory of what it's like, and maybe someday I might get another one. I've got a sample of a 24-year-old sherry cask. I'm holding on to that for a special review at some point. That's going to be my. It's an independent bottling. I think it might be a malt man, but don't quote me on it. But the person that was gracious enough to send the review, Prene, if you're out there watching, cheers, my friend. When he reviewed it, he thought it was the bee's knees, so I'm sure it's going to be pretty damn good. Swami hit 800 subs today. Oh, very congratulations, man. I'm way behind. I'll be lucky if I can break 200 probably by the end of the year, but that's okay. It's I'm not probably the best at self promotion, and I know you guys have been doing it a lot longer than I have. So hopefully, after I pay my dues and get some vids up there to store and people stop by and watch, hopefully the numbers will grow. Hopefully, we can do a show together at some point. I know we had some issues before. I got a new camera here, new sound, a new computer. Everything is new, so hopefully I won't have those crazy ass sound issues I was having before with the sound cutting out, and I mean that was just a nightmare before with that Surface Book. It was a POS, if you know what I mean. So this is an Asus GX501, 8 gigs of video RAM. It's got a GeForce 1080, not nice Max. It's Max Q technology. It's a nice card. You can game with this sucker. It's pretty badass. So we'll see how it goes. Bobby says I'll need more subs. People are missing out. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it'll happen in time. Let's get back to this Kilkerran while we have the chance. Oh man, it's so good. Definitely, it's like I'm not sure if you remember this. This is kind of old school. Pudding pops, back when Jello had the pudding pops, and there was this one that had like a cherry vanilla swirl, really good vanilla, really good cherry mix, and it's a lot like that in a glass. Really good balance. Sweetness is there. I love the fact that they did the sherry and did the bourbon half and half. That's my favorite. I wonder if the Kilkerran 12 is like that. I can't remember if there's a sherry influence on there, or if there's if it's all bourbon. Swami, you might remember off the top of your head if the Kilkerran 12 does have the sherry as well. If it does, no wonder it's so damn good. Hopefully you can find this one, Swami. It's not hopefully too tough. It wasn't expensive. Let me look at my notes here on the prices they have for the Kilkerran here, at least in Maryland. So let's take a quick look here and see what we got. Here we go. The 8-year cask strength, they have it for $89.99 American. As well as the bourbon finish, which is this guy here. Their 12-year is only $75.99, which is cheaper. That's oh, I know why. Cask strength. That's why. Sherry finish they have for $79.99, which I believe is not cask strength either. I think that's what makes this guy such a kind of a gem is the extra ABV in there. Let me see what the ABV is in that sherry wood. 46%. So that's, I think the 12 is a standard. Is a standard 46% as well, if I'm not mistaken. Swami just verified it's 30% sherry cask, 70%. So it's not half and half, but they do still have the influence of sherry on the 12. That is interesting. I'll have to give me another 12. I love it. I might prefer the 50/50 and the extra ABV though. Even though it's a work in progress, this might not be as old as the 12, but it's happening, my friends. It's happening. Definitely, I think worth anyone's try. I'm gonna definitely give this a 4.5 out of 5. It's up there, man. Really close to 4.75, but let me see about the finish again, because the finish might be a little short for me, but let me see. Cherries out the yin yang still. Wow. It's going. It's not like cough syrupy. It's not, you know, you don't think you're getting an extra dose of codeine or anything like that. It's a nice cherry. Reminds me of a really nice cherry pie that's done well with really good fresh cherries. By Purnell says he just got a bottle of Talisker Secret Stills, an independent bottled finishing sherry. Really curious what that does to a Talisker. Me too. I can't remember if the Distiller's Edition has any sherry influence to it. It might. If it does, it's probably subtle though, because I don't remember it being heavily sherried dram. But that's a good question. I like to get a sample of that somehow. The I have to see on that. I'll have to do some digging. Thanks, Swami, for stopping by. Welcome anytime. And yeah, we'll have to try to get together maybe and do a show. I know it's hard to get when you're working. We both work. We're both married. I've got a kid that makes it also interesting sometimes. So it's hard to do it any other time other than kind of late. But we'll have to plan something out sometime if you want. Maybe even, agree on trying to find the same bottle or something. Maybe it doesn't have to be though. You could pick a bottle. I pick a bottle, and you do a review. I do a review, and that'll be like we'll call it a combo show or something. A show combo. Oh my, lovely. I'm leaning toward a 4.75 on this. That's how damn good it is. I'm going to put this as an extra, guys. Paul Lee Praney Scott, if you ever watch, I think I'll throw this in as an extra sample. I think you guys will be very happy, because I know you guys have had the sherry wood, but you haven't had this, I don't think. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised and happy. Yeah, Richie Z was talking earlier about the Bruichladdich, the Black Arts 4.1, and they have a new 5.0. I think that's the last one they've done. It's good. It's funny because I remember when I had the 4.1, I loved it. Very complex, very well-rounded. There's just one funky note, and I keep equating it to a mushroom. I know it's probably crazy. Mushroom gravy, something like that. Very earthy, mineral, metallic kind of back into it. I think that's why I kept thinking mushroom. But with the 4.1, I got it a pretty, I won't say intense, but it was a medium showing, I'd say. And then when I was at the expo in Indianapolis, when I was visiting the Four Dummies, I got a chance to try the 5. And thankfully, that wasn't as profound. It was still there a little bit in the background, but it was still a well-rounded experience. Kind of pricey, though. I think they wanted like $330, $350 for the bottle at the time. And I'm not sure if that's gone up or down, or if it's the same, but that's a tough one. It's good. I think the only reason I'd be hesitant to buying it myself is the lack of peat, but it is Bruichladdich, and they make some really good stuff. And those bottles are kick-ass looking. I hate to say it, because I hate to be a sucker for any marketing at all, but there is something to say for a nice looking bottle sometimes. So it's a one I might have to get later on. I'm gonna probably start with collecting Octomore though, because I do love the taste of that comparatively to. I mean, the regular Isla barley, Scottish barley stuff's decent. Port Charlotte stuff's good, but the Octomore, I think I'll start with that. Maybe do the Port Charlotte. Eventually, I might get to some of the other ones, including the back arts, but we'll have to see. There's just so many that I have to get. I've got a lot of more bottles on the other side you guys can't see, ranging from probably 10 different Lefroys and 10 different Ardbegs and a handful of Glenmorangies and Tomatins and Auchentoshan, Benriach and Talisker and all sorts of stuff. So the collection's growing. Some independent one-offs back here, Glenmossy, Glenturret. I'm going to be doing those pretty soon. It's going to be fun, and trading a couple samples. Let's see. I think there was another one. Strathmill. Yeah, Strathmill was the other one that we'll be doing. Also got the Inchgower, Flora and Fauna, and I think it's Tanish. I can't remember which way it's pronounced, but that's another Flora and Fauna bottle we'll be taking a look at later down the road. Richie said he paid $340 in tax, but enjoy the hell out of it. Yeah, that's about the same price. I think it was in July. I want to say. Well, I'm trying to remember when it was when I was up there. Was it July? Maybe. It was hot. I remember that. It's probably July. So it's good to see that it's not really gone up or down a whole lot if you got it recently. But not saying it's not worth it. It's just it's definitely up there for a bottle. I wish it was like $250, but it's wishful thinking, right? Mm. That's just beautiful. I think that if you ever get a chance to get this, put a couple drops on it. It is a little, 54.1 something to sneeze at. Put a couple drops, and I think you'll be in heaven. Be a business. Richie Z is asking what's the year on the Indy Glenmossy. 1 second, I'll show you. Let's see. This is an Alexander Murray and Company. It's a 1997. It's a 19-year cast strength Glenmossy. Now, I've only had one other Alexander Murray independent bottling. It was a Glenkeith. It was in 1995, and it was not a cast strength, but it was still pretty decent, actually. For 21 years, I was hoping for a little more, I don't know, maybe a little more, but it had some really good tobacco, oranges, the vanilla and the toffee, and it had a lot of good notes to it. But was it, I don't think it was probably as good as a Glengoyne 21 or maybe a Glendronach 21 or something like that. But hopefully this being cast strength, I think is going to be a helpful deal. 53.3. And for 19 years, it doesn't look like if they did add any coloring, I'd be surprised. They don't really advertise anything on here regarding color or chill filtering. So that's a tough one, but it doesn't look dark by any means. I mean, for a 19-year-old whiskey, I wouldn't think so. So that's the one we're going to give it a try. And the Glenturret is a Gordon MacPhail's 11. The Strathmill is a 10. Connoisseur's Choice, also a Gordon MacPhail. And that's the 3 that we'll be doing in the round. I think we'll be on round 6 for our tour through Scotland. Loch Ness. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Loch Ness. Hey guys, Talisker 10 or Distiller's Edition for my first purchase. Ooh, let's think here, man. That's a tough one. If I remember correctly, the 10 runs 65 to 70. The Distiller's Edition, I think I got mine for 82, which, you know, is not much difference. Both I thought were great, but I think based on, if you're thinking like me, I'm a big fan of Metacritic, where I go and see a lot of reviews in one area and see what the overwhelming, you know, what people really gravitate towards. I would go with the standard 10 because the Distiller's Edition doesn't get as many great reviews, but like Triple Cap said, personally, if I'm going with my personal preference, I like the Distiller's Edition better. So if you want to play it safe, go with the Talisker 10. If you don't mind rolling a die and taking a little chance, go for the Distiller's Edition. It's only going to cost you $10 more. So yeah, and Bobby Purnell's correct. You can't go wrong with either one. And he gave the Distiller's Edition a very slight edge as well. So it's kind of funny because if you go and look at like a bunch of reviews, I think you might see people like the 10 maybe a little smidgen more. But out of the three of us, we all three like the Distiller's Edition more. So that tells you something. Not sure what it tells you, but it tells you something. So, but thanks for stopping by, guys. I have to work. I get to telework tomorrow, but I do have to work tomorrow, so I'm gonna have to cut it off and hopefully see you guys. Maybe might do a weekend show. You never know. Maybe if I have some time Saturday, or if not, maybe might turn on Tuesday. I'll try to make sure no one else is doing a show. It's hard sometimes because I know some people will think they'll do one and then they'll reschedule it for the next day, and it's hard to tell who's doing what, when, where, how, and all that. But we'll work something out. And I appreciate you stopping by. And definitely Talisker 10 and Distiller's Edition. Great either way. And definitely look for this sucker if you can find it. I don't know how hard it is, but this is an excellent, excellent bottle. I'm not paid by Kilkerran or Glengyle by any means. I just know what's good, and that is damn good. And I'll be pouring myself another dram here before I go to bed, maybe. Thanks a lot, Triple Cap, for stopping by, and the rest of you. Slachva. Cheers. Where's that mouse? With this new computer, I never can find where the mouse is. There we go.